Imagine standing on a windswept cliff, the roar of the sea masking the distant thunder of artillery. Waves crash violently, tossing landing craft like toys, as shadows of steel descend from the grey sky. Every heartbeat feels like a countdown. One misstep, one missed order, 1 second, and the tide of history could sweep away everything you've trained for. This is June 6, 1944, Normandy. A coastline about to explode with the fury of the largest amphibious assault ever mounted. Soldiers cling to the sides of their boats, gripping rifles and hope alike. Paratroopers are dropped into darkness, scattered across fields bristling with danger. The world holds its breath, and somewhere a young commander wonders if this gamble will pay off. The air smells of salt, oil, and fear. Above, aircraft streak across the sky. Below, unseen forces lie in wait, ready to test every plan, every courage, every soul. Welcome, history warriors. I'm Knightley. You're about to witness history like never before. But before the guns roar and the beaches ignite, we must understand the world that led to this monumental day. Europe, 1944. 4 long years of total war have scarred the continent. Cities lie in ruins, railways, ports, and factories either bombed or repurposed for war. Across the Atlantic, the United States and Britain have been building a force unlike anything the world has seen, a coalition determined to free Europe from tyranny. Opposing them, the German war machine, honed and ruthless, has entrenched itself along the western coast of France, anticipating every move. Normandy, a stretch of beaches and cliffs, becomes the focal point of a global gamble. The Allies know that failure here would extend the war, deepen suffering, and potentially change the course of history. Every soldier, every plane, every ship carries the weight of nations. Supreme Allied Commander Dwight D. Eisenhower, steady and resolute, faces the impossible task of coordinating forces from multiple nations. Opposite him, Field Marshal Erwin Rommel, the Desert Fox, fortifies defenses with meticulous care, deploying tanks, artillery, and minefields to turn the beaches into an inferno. The stakes could not be higher. The outcome will determine not only the fate of France, but the very trajectory of World War II. For months, spies, codebreakers, and intelligence officers have whispered secrets across war rooms. Plans are drawn, rehearsed, and redrawn. Yet beneath the maps and strategies lies one undeniable truth. War is chaotic, unpredictable, and brutal. The calm before the storm presses on, heavy and suffocating. And now, as Allied forces gather in secret across the Channel, the stage is set. Every moment, every decision will ripple through history. The world waits for the first shot. The night before the invasion, the English Channel is a restless shadow. Thousands of vessels, from massive troop transports to nimble landing craft, huddle like predators waiting for a signal. Officers pace decks, hands pressed to maps, murmuring over coordinates and tides. Allied planners have calculated every detail: moonlight, surf, weather, even the angle of the sun at first light. Every variable is a life or death puzzle. Dwight D. Eisenhower, calm and commanding, carries the burden of millions. His face betrays nothing, yet in his mind he races through every contingency. Beside him, British General Bernard Montgomery meticulously reviews troop movements. American General Omar Bradley balances logistics with human endurance, knowing that once the first wave hits, plans dissolve into chaos. Opposite them, Rommel walks the beaches of Normandy, inspecting minefields, bunkers, and artillery placements. His soldiers, seasoned from the deserts of North Africa to the hedgerows of France, brace for the storm. Paratroopers rehearse night jumps, their bodies weighted with gear, rifles, and courage. Pilots check instruments, plotting runs over enemy positions. Engineers prepare explosives to breach German defenses. The beaches will not be welcoming. Each team knows that the first hours will decide the day. Deception is as vital as force. Operation Fortitude spreads false intelligence, feeding Rommel and his generals' phantom armies poised elsewhere. Inflatable tanks, dummy aircraft, and misleading radio chatter create illusions of strength far from Normandy. German command braces for invasions from Calais, while the real storm builds to the west. Airborne divisions prepare for pre-dawn drops behind enemy lines. Gliders slice through darkness, carrying troops and equipment into the unknown. Paratroopers memorize drop zones, yet the wind can scatter them into fields, forests, or rivers. Each man steels himself for isolation, for chaos, for the moment when training meets reality. At sea, landing craft are loaded with tanks, artillery, ammunition, and soldiers. Decks tremble under weight. Engines roar with anticipation. Waves pound the hulls. Wind whips rain across faces. Each craft is a lifeline and a coffin, depending on the turn of a single second. On the German side, defenses are layered in terrifying efficiency. Concrete bunkers rise from cliffs. Interlocked fields of fire cover every approach. Artillery is positioned to sweep the sands, and machine gun nests are hidden behind hedgerows and dunes. Mines, both obvious and concealed, lurk under every inch of beach. Rommel's plan is simple. Make the coastline a graveyard, delay the Allies, and hope reinforcements arrive before the tide turns. In war rooms, maps glow under lamplight. Eisenhower reviews contingencies. What if weather turns? What if a landing craft sinks? What if resistance is fiercer than expected? Every scenario is weighed. Communications officers check frequencies, ensuring messages can pierce the chaos. Each soldier's survival depends on precision and luck. Meanwhile, spies and reconnaissance planes scan the coastline relentlessly. Every observation is a clue, every missed detail a potential disaster. Soldiers march toward embarkation points, families left behind, dreams of liberation driving them forward. Engineers rehearse bridge laying, mine clearing, and demolitions. Boats are inspected, guns loaded, first aid kits checked. Silence dominates, but the tension is deafening. Weather reports dominate briefings. The invasion must align with tide, moon, and sky. Even a slight miscalculation could spell catastrophe. Eisenhower reviews final orders. You are about to embark on the great crusade toward which we have striven these many months. The eyes of the world are upon you. A pause. The words hang in the cold air like a herald of history. Every division, every soldier, every captain knows the moment to strike is near. Soldiers sleep little, rehearsing landings in mind and body. Tanks, planes, and ships await. Everything is ready. Yet beneath the preparation lies the unyielding truth. No plan survives the first contact with fire. The night sky darkens further. Troopships creak, planes hum, paratroopers wait. The stage is set for the largest amphibious assault ever attempted. And somewhere along those shores, destiny waits, patient and unyielding. Silence before the storm. The first light of dawn fractures the horizon. Waves pound the hulls of landing craft, tossing soldiers like driftwood. Overhead, aircraft streak through clouds, bombs detonating in distant flashes. Normandy awakens with a roar. Soldiers grip rifles, bayonets, and courage. Every step into the surf is a gamble with death. Water surges to waist height, dragging men down, while bullets whip overhead, finding every shadow. Landing craft grind against sand, engines straining. Chaos rules, but discipline holds, barely. Artillery erupts from cliffs, showering the beach with fire. Tanks rumble ashore, their treads carving tracks into wet sand, cannon booms echoing across the coast. Paratroopers, dropped hours earlier, scramble through hedgerows and fields, engaging German outposts. Confusion reigns, yet every unit fights toward a single purpose, the inland push. Machine guns roar from bunkers. Soldiers dive, roll and crawl, advancing through mud and shrapnel. Smoke drifts across dunes. Each wave of reinforcements brings fresh momentum, yet the Germans counter with calculated ferocity. Mines explode beneath feet, leaving craters that become both hazard and shield. Across the beaches, medics move swiftly, tending wounded without pause. Communication lines are chaotic, signals are misread, radios crackle with static, orders arrive late. Yet soldiers press forward, determined to secure the high ground. Air support sweeps the skies. Fighter planes strafe positions, dropping ordnance that shakes the earth. Bombers release payloads with deadly precision, yet some fall short, hitting friendly positions. The storm of steel and fire is relentless. On Omaha Beach, soldiers encounter bunkers reinforced with concrete and steel. Every approach is met with deadly resistance. Courage is tested as men hurl grenades, scale obstacles, and pull comrades from the surf. "Move forward, or die trying," whispers one officer, voice barely audible over gunfire. Utah Beach tells a different story. Terrain favors the attackers. Troops advance swiftly, encountering lighter resistance. Yet danger lurks in every hedgerow, every hidden trench. Engineers clear obstacles, bridging gaps under fire, allowing tanks to push inland. British and Canadian forces land on Gold, Juno, and Sword beaches. Coordinated artillery bombardment has softened defenses. Troops move with practiced precision, storming cliffs, capturing bunkers, and securing footholds. Every victory is measured in yards, every advance hard-won. Rommel's defenses strain under pressure. Units are scattered, reinforcements delayed. Officers radio frantic orders, adjusting strategies as chaos unfolds. The hedgerows and cliffs, once a line of steel, are now contested ground. Paratroopers in the interior encounter German armor and infantry. Skirmishes erupt in villages, fields, and orchards. Ambushes test training. Courage meets calculation. Soldiers fight not just to survive, but to ensure the beachheads hold. The tide is merciless. Landing craft continue to deliver men, vehicles, and supplies. Waves break over hulls, and yet each man carries the weight of history onto the sand. Engineers plant charges, clearing paths through obstacles. Mortars launch shells, shaking earth and nerve alike. Communication is fragmented. Smoke, noise, and distance distort signals. Commanders improvise, issuing orders on instinct. Decisions must be made in seconds, often without certainty. Yet through the confusion, a semblance of structure emerges, a fragile thread linking thousands of men in a single purpose. Amidst the chaos, small acts of heroism ripple across the beaches. Soldiers pull wounded comrades from fire, share ammunition, and cover advances. Each act tips the balance. Each unit moves incrementally toward its objective. By mid-morning, the beaches are still contested, yet gains are tangible. Sand, blood, mud, and steel are interwoven into a tableau of war. Tanks inch forward, soldiers climb cliffs, and paratroopers secure crossroads. The momentum is fragile but growing. Naval bombardments shift targets as German positions retreat or adapt. Ships fire at bunkers, artillery, and roadblocks, softening the way for infantry. Smoke clouds the horizon, hiding movement and creating peril. The sensory overload is total: thunder, screams, explosions, and the ever-present smell of salt, oil, and gunpowder. The German counterattacks begin. Panzer divisions roll toward the beaches, attempting to seal the gaps. Tanks engage landing craft still offshore, while infantry pressure footholds on sand and cliffs. Soldiers adapt, employing anti-tank weapons and coordinated fire to hold lines. On Sword Beach, British troops push inland toward Caen. Resistance stiffens, yet determination carries the day. Small victories, captured bunkers, cleared obstacles, secured crossroads, compound, enabling further advances. Every inch taken costs dearly but builds momentum. At Omaha, the battle is far from won. Waves crash with relentless rhythm. Men fight hand-to-hand, scaling obstacles under fire. Mortality is visible, yet soldiers press forward, driven by training, orders, and sheer will. Engineers detonate obstacles to create pathways, keeping the tide of men moving. By late afternoon, the first major objectives are within reach. Supply chains are established on beaches. Tanks continue to roll inland. Paratroopers secure villages, and artillery positions are gradually neutralized. The Allies gain ground, but the price is stark and palpable. The evening brings a temporary lull. Smoke drifts across the beaches, mingling with mist. Soldiers regroup, medics evacuate the wounded, and commanders assess the day's gains and losses. The coast is held, yet the inland fight has just begun. The first wave has survived, and in doing so has carved a foothold into history. Momentum swings, yet uncertainty remains. The battle will continue, the beaches will still burn, and the men who fought today will shape the outcome of an entire war. By the second day of the invasion, the tide of battle teeters on a knife's edge. Omaha Beach remains fiercely contested, with casualties mounting and German bunkers still holding. Supplies are delayed, confidence wavers, yet a single decision reshapes the battlefield. General Omar Bradley, observing the disarray from a command post, realizes that infantry alone cannot secure the beach. Tanks trapped on the sand, artillery partially neutralized, and waves of soldiers pinned by fire require decisive action. He orders engineers to clear specific pathways through obstacles and minefields, enabling armored support to advance. The plan is audacious. Timing must be perfect. At the same time, British and Canadian forces press inland. Intelligence reports reveal a weak point in German defenses near Bayeux. Commanders exploit this immediately, redirecting units to cut enemy supply lines. Rommel, stretched across multiple beaches, struggles to respond. His reinforcements arrive slowly, delayed by congestion and confusion. Air superiority proves critical. Allied aircraft, having cleared skies of Luftwaffe opposition, strike with precision, targeting artillery and armor. One historian notes, "The skies became a force multiplier. The moment air met land, the outcome shifted. Soldiers on the ground feel relief and renewed courage, sensing the enemy's vulnerability. Paratroopers in the interior play their part. Scattered overnight, they regroup to seize key bridges and crossroads. German counterattacks falter against these unexpected footholds. Roads are cut, communication disrupted, and armored units trapped in bottlenecks. A decisive weather change aids the Allies. Fog lifts over critical landing zones, revealing entrenched positions. Naval guns adjust fire with pinpoint accuracy. Tanks previously bogged down now move with support. Every forward yard becomes possible because of synchronized timing between sea, air, and land forces. At Utah Beach, momentum surges. Troops who encountered light resistance now capitalize fully, pushing into Cherbourg's approaches. Engineers clear obstacles rapidly, bridges are established, and armored columns advance. By coordinating multiple fronts, commanders force German forces into reactive maneuvers. Rommel makes critical calls. Divisions are shifted to reinforce beaches, leaving gaps inland. Supply and communication lines strain under pressure. Mistakes compounded by disrupted intelligence begin to appear. The German high command watches in disbelief as the beachheads solidify. In Normandy's fields, small units exploit every advantage. Paratroopers ambush convoys. Infantry units outflank machine gun nests. "Every minute counts," says one officer. Indeed, timing becomes the fulcrum of success. The battle is no longer solely about courage. It is about coordination, logistics, and decisive action. By mid-afternoon, the German line begins to bend. Isolated bunkers are abandoned or destroyed. Tank units trapped by terrain and enemy fire fall back. Soldiers in trenches surrender or retreat to regroup. Allied forces gain critical momentum, pushing enemy forces inland. On Omaha, a key coastal ridge is captured after brutal maneuvering. This vantage point allows artillery observers to direct fire onto remaining German positions, neutralizing previously impregnable bunkers. Troops surge forward, following engineers through cleared paths. Meanwhile, Canadian and British advances link up along Sword, Juno, and Gold beaches. Cross-communications allow for coordinated pushes toward Caen and Bayeux. Each successful link-up creates a domino effect. Commanders sense the enemy's grip weakening. The first major breakthrough comes when paratroopers secure a bridge over the Orne River. This cuts German reinforcements from reaching Sword Beach. Enemy units trapped between advancing Allied infantry and naval fire face untenable odds. By evening, the landscape of the invasion has changed irrevocably. Allied forces hold firmly on the beaches, push several kilometers inland, and have begun the slow, methodical advance that will eventually liberate Normandy. The German command scrambles to stabilize the situation, but the initiative is lost. Historians mark this moment as pivotal. The decision to coordinate tanks, infantry, artillery, and air support with impeccable timing allowed the Allies to overcome seemingly impenetrable defenses. A bold order by Bradley, executed flawlessly under immense pressure, tipped the scales. Small actions compound into strategic advantage. Engineers' cleared paths allow reinforcements to flow. Airstrikes suppress enemy artillery. Paratroopers seize key positions. Weather aligns, naval bombardment softens resistance, and officers adapt to chaos with decisive leadership. The Germans, once confident in their coastal fortifications, find themselves reacting rather than commanding. Their superior numbers in certain sectors are nullified by delays, miscommunication, and the overwhelming coordination of Allied forces. By the night of June 6th, the first day of D-Day is effectively won. The beaches are secured, supply lines established, and inland objectives are within reach. Soldiers rest briefly, aware that the fight is far from over. Yet the turning point has been achieved. Momentum has shifted irreversibly toward the Allies. Eisenhower's gamble pays off. His careful planning, combined with the bold execution of field commanders, transforms a chaotic, deadly struggle into the first step toward liberation. The beachheads are footholds, but now they are also symbols of a decisive, historical turning point. As night settles, the sound of waves masks the distant rumble of German artillery. Soldiers tend to the wounded, reposition units, and prepare for the next push. The first shock of combat has passed, but the momentum gained ensures that the Allies will dictate the pace of the battle from here forward. The beaches of Normandy fall silent, save for the crackle of fires and distant artillery. What had been a raging storm of men, steel, and gunfire is now a landscape of fragile victory. The Allies hold firm, the first foothold in continental Europe since 1940. Supplies move ashore, tanks advance inland, and soldiers regroup to face the challenges ahead. The cost is heavy. Thousands of soldiers lie wounded, exhausted, or missing, their sacrifice etched into the sand and memory. Yet the human toll, though sobering, is measured with respect, each life a testament to courage and duty. The Allies have gained ground, yes, but it came at the price of immense effort and determination. Territorially, the invasion secures critical beachheads along 5 sectors: Utah, Omaha, Gold, Juneau, and Sword. Each beach represents not just a victory of tactics, but a breach of the Atlantic Wall, the formidable German fortifications that had seemed invincible. Engineers and infantry push forward, establishing supply routes, communication lines, and defensive positions to repel counterattacks. Morale soars. Soldiers, officers, and nations feel the first tangible sign that the tide of the war has turned. The Allies' coordination and bravery have demonstrated that no fortification or enemy line is insurmountable. German forces, though still formidable, face the reality that their coastal strongholds are now contested and vulnerable. Naval and air forces continue to exert control. Battleships patrol the channel, protecting supply lines. Fighter planes dominate the skies, ensuring enemy reinforcements are delayed or redirected. The integration of sea, air, and land forces proves decisive, setting a standard for modern combined operations. The inland push begins cautiously. Paratroopers and infantry clear villages, capture crossroads, and secure bridges. Tactical successes allow armored divisions to follow, expanding the beachheads into larger zones of control. Every advance is calculated, avoiding unnecessary losses while maximizing the pressure on German defenses. Strategically, the consequences are profound. D-Day opens a western front, forcing Germany to fight a two-front war once more. The Eastern Front remains active, but the addition of Western pressure stretches resources, personnel, and logistics thin. The liberation of France is now possible, and the road toward Germany itself is visible on the horizon. Historians note the psychological impact. Soldiers and civilians alike recognize that the Allied forces can mount operations at scale, combining planning, technology, and courage to achieve monumental objectives. The invasion shifts perceptions. What once seemed impossible now feels attainable. The Germans reassess. Field Marshal Rommel and other commanders realized that their fortifications were overcome by precision, coordination, and timing rather than sheer force. The failure to repel the beaches in the first hours creates ripples of doubt among troops and officers alike. Supply lines are disrupted, communications falter, and the initiative lies with the Allies. Human cost continues beyond the battlefield. Wounded soldiers are evacuated, medics work tirelessly, and temporary field hospitals struggle to handle the volume. The chaos of combat is met with quiet heroism in care and support. Civilians in liberated areas emerge, tentative and fearful, witnessing destruction but also the hope of freedom returning to their towns. By nightfall, the first day of the invasion concludes with mixed outcomes: beaches secured, inland positions established, and a foothold into France gained. Yet the campaign ahead promises more battles, more strategy, and more sacrifices. The stage is set for a sustained effort that will determine the continent's future. Long-term D-Day marks a turning point in World War II. The operation demonstrates the effectiveness of large-scale coordination, technological advantage, and careful planning. Supply chains, intelligence, and the ability to adapt under fire become key lessons for future operations. Every decision, every movement, every act of courage contributes to the eventual liberation of Europe. Soldiers rest under the night sky, reflecting on the surreal transition from chaos to cautious stability. Engineers repair obstacles, artillery units reposition, and commanders draft plans for the days ahead. The battle is far from over, but the first, decisive step toward victory has been taken. The beaches of Normandy remain a symbol of courage, of coordination, and of the pivotal moment when meticulous planning met unyielding resolve. For the Allies, it is a victory that promises hope and momentum. For the Germans, it is a warning that even the strongest defenses can fall. D-Day is often remembered for its scale, its drama, and its heroism. But beneath the roar of artillery and the chaos of waves crashing against fortified beaches lies a profound study in planning, leadership, and logistics. Every decision, from weather forecasts to the placement of paratroopers, reveals lessons that transcend the battlefield. Strategically, the operation highlights the importance of integrated planning. Sea, air, and land forces functioned not in isolation, but as a cohesive organism. Naval bombardments softened defenses, while aircraft maintained air superiority and infantry advanced with armored support. Coordination created force multiplication. The result was greater than the sum of its parts. Leadership under pressure emerges as a central theme. Eisenhower, calm yet decisive, entrusted field commanders with autonomy. Montgomery, Bradley, and other generals balanced planning with improvisation, adapting to chaos with clarity. One historian observes, "The genius of D-Day was not in perfect execution, but in disciplined flexibility under fire." Logistics, often overlooked, proved decisive. Hundreds of thousands of troops, vehicles, and tons of supplies crossed the channel. Engineers cleared obstacles, bridges were built under fire, and supply lines extended rapidly inland. Without this foundation, courage alone could not have secured the beaches. Intelligence and deception also played pivotal roles. Operation Fortitude misled German forces, convincing Rommel and High Command that the main attack would hit Calais. This diversion forced resources away from Normandy, thinning defenses and creating exploitable weaknesses. The lesson: information can be as lethal as artillery. Technology was another force multiplier. Landing craft, amphibious tanks, and specialized engineering equipment allowed troops to overcome obstacles previously thought impassable. Communication tools, although prone to disruption, enabled coordination across vast, chaotic battlefields. D-Day illustrates that innovation, when combined with disciplined planning, changes the balance of war. Courage, of course, remains central. Soldiers faced fear, uncertainty, and near impossible odds. Yet courage alone does not win battles. It must be channeled through strategy, leadership, and coordination. The individual heroism on the beaches, paratroopers securing crossroads, engineers clearing paths, medics saving lives, combined with systemic planning to produce historic outcomes. D-Day also offers lessons in timing and adaptability. Weather, tides, and daylight dictated operational windows. Eisenhower's decision to delay the invasion by 24 hours due to poor weather exemplifies the importance of flexibility. Commanders adjusted plans as the battle unfolded, improvising under fire to exploit weaknesses and mitigate losses. From a strategic perspective, D-Day underscores the importance of initiative. Once the Allies secured a foothold, momentum became a weapon. German forces, despite numerical strength and prepared defenses, were forced into reactive maneuvers. The operation demonstrates that the side dictating tempo often shapes the broader outcome of a campaign. The human dimension cannot be ignored. While numbers, tactics, and technology dominate narratives, the experience of individual soldiers illuminates the psychological aspect of warfare. Training, cohesion, and morale determined whether units held under fire. Leaders who inspired confidence maintained clarity, and acted decisively ensured that men acted with purpose rather than panic. Logistical precision extended beyond supplies. Medical care, evacuation of the wounded, and rotation of exhausted troops were integral to sustaining combat power. Field hospitals, transport networks, and coordinated communications allowed the Allies to preserve effectiveness while maintaining momentum. Modern military planners still study these systems as templates for large-scale operations. D-Day also demonstrates the interplay of risk and reward. Eisenhower faced immense pressure. A failed landing could have prolonged the war by years, yet calculated risk, based on intelligence, reconnaissance, and meticulous planning, transformed potential catastrophe into strategic victory. Leadership under uncertainty remains one of the most enduring lessons from this operation. In hindsight, historians emphasize that D-Day's success was contingent upon multiple interconnected factors: courage, planning, deception, innovation, and adaptability. No single element alone could have sufficed. The operation exemplifies how complex systems, when synchronized under visionary leadership, can achieve what often appears impossible. Finally, D-Day offers enduring insight into human resilience. Soldiers, commanders, and civilians alike faced the extremes of conflict, yet coordination, preparation, and shared purpose produced outcomes that reshaped history. The liberation of France, the momentum gained on the Western Front, and the eventual defeat of Nazi Germany all trace back to this moment on the beaches of Normandy. As we reflect, it becomes clear: D-Day is not merely a battle to study, but a masterclass in strategy, leadership, and human courage. The lessons resonate far beyond war, informing fields as diverse as organizational leadership, project management, and crisis response. History offers its teaching, and D-Day exemplifies clarity, courage, and calculated action in the face of overwhelming uncertainty. Imagine standing once more on the sands of Normandy. The roar of battle has faded, replaced by the gentle crash of waves. Silence hangs heavy, broken only by distant echoes of what occurred hours before. Yet in that silence lies the resonance of history. The lives changed, the courage displayed, and the monumental human effort that altered the course of the world. D-Day was not merely a battle, it was a culmination of planning, bravery, and relentless determination. Soldiers who faced fear beyond imagination carved the first steps toward liberation. Commanders who balanced meticulous planning with decisive action turned chaos into opportunity. Engineers, medics, pilots, and sailors each played a part in a symphony of precision and courage. Every individual, every unit, contributed to an outcome that would ripple across the globe. The beaches of Normandy now stand as both a memorial and a lesson. They remind us that success in the face of overwhelming odds is possible when preparation meets action, when strategy is guided by flexibility, and when courage is harnessed toward a common purpose. History is not only written in victories, but in the orchestration of countless interdependent acts that define a turning point. As we reflect, one truth emerges. D-Day was more than a military operation. It was a testament to human resilience. It exemplifies the power of leadership under uncertainty, the necessity of coordination, and the impact of calculated risk. From every paratrooper dropped behind enemy lines to every artillery shell fired from the coast, each action shaped the destiny of nations. To the soldiers, leaders, and civilians of that time, history was immediate, terrifying, and relentless. To us, it becomes a source of insight, inspiration, and solemn respect. We honor the sacrifices made, understanding that freedom often demands extraordinary courage and extraordinary coordination. Thank you for joining me on this journey through D-Day, a moment when humanity faced its darkest hours and emerged determined, steadfast, and united. If you found this exploration insightful, immersive, and compelling, I encourage you to like, comment, and subscribe, because history deserves to be remembered vividly, not just as dates and numbers, but as stories of courage and consequence. Next time, Stalingrad, the siege that broke Germany. You won't believe what happened there. From frozen streets to desperate tactics, the city itself became a battlefield where every decision carried life or death consequences. Until then, remember, history is not a distant echo. It is alive, waiting to teach us, challenge us, and inspire us. And in that lesson, we find the courage to face our own battles, both great and small,